Hello, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's coming in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Sorry, it took me. You know what? I had to make my coffee. So I had to go do my coffee up. That's what I was doing. That's why I was a little bit late. And then I was listening to something in. Yeah. So we're going to get into some real crazy info. And we are going. Hey, have you guys ever followed Reality Revolt? Reality Revolt. I mean, he has some real interesting stuff. Just let me see if I can get him on here. Instagram. And I'm going to share this briefly with you. See if he pops up on here. Reality Revolt, and what he just did is so hilarious. Okay. I'm going to share this. Instagram. I'm going to share. And hold on.
An emergency message. Outbreak of the deadly virus is spreading rapidly.
A virus? A worrying new challenge in efforts to contain the hantavirus.
All we want right now is to feel safe.
For now, nobody is being allowed off the boat.
All ships must remain at sea.
Have fun! My booze!
One of the side effects.
It's the same disease that killed Betsy Arakawa, the wife of late actor Gene Hackman.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus.
Isn't this crazy? I love
I'm
this
saying
flag.
it wasn't the hantavirus.
They're buying it. They're buying it.
Your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare or a virus. What killed those men? A silent weapon for a quiet war.
Crazy. It's the amount of information that's, I mean, everybody, if you look on the news right now, it's everywhere, right? And as soon as it came out, I was just like, are you fucking serious? People are going to fall for this bullshit again. And it just, because it popped up everywhere and started to see it on mainstream media. And everybody's like, oh my God, look at this, look at this. And there is another, she's fabulous. I've been following her for a little bit now. And so it won't open. I'm not sure. Find her name is Drew. Drew. Her name's Drew. If I can find her info. Anyways, she's a great reporter. She really gets into the details and follows all of the lines. The one guy you saw on TikTok that says, I just want to feel safe. He actually works for the cruise line. He has actually been on different cruises with that cruise line. So that, for him, and he was the only one who had information out. And that was the very first thing I looked at, is like, who else is talking about this? But there was nobody else talking about it. He was the only one. They said, oh, they're all seniors. Well, fuck you with being seniors. I'm 62. I know how to stream and put shit out. So don't say, oh, because they're in their 60s or 70s, they don't know how to use social media. Fuck off. That's not true. Like, I'm sorry. There might be some that don't, but a majority, if they want to get the information and stuff out. I mean, it wasn't, I hate to say it, was the baby boomers that brought in the internet. Um, so I'm just finding it just crazy, all of the stuff that's coming in, and then everybody's posting stuff about Pfizer and the shit about Pfizer and information that's coming out because Pfizer, the shot, if you got the shot, that is one of the symptoms, along with shingles and a few other things as well. So this is where, are people going to follow into Delulu land again, right? And fall into all of the disillusions and everything else to that go along with that. There are so many different little clues and information in that are out there. Revolting, what's his name? Revolting, it's not revolting, but his stuff is really, I mean, he really gets into it with that. So somebody's asking me. So just so much crazy information and stuff that is coming out right now. And what people are believing and falling into as well. So that's the whole thing. That's the one thing. So we're going to get into a lot of different information. People coming in and stuff. I am only on YouTube. I'm not on Instagram. I was going to do Instagram live, but it's like, yeah, I'm only here. So I'm going to just let people know. So I'm just doing things only on YouTube right now. And that's only because of wanting to get more people onto my YouTube. There's also
because there's been a major hack on the Canvas learning management system, which for perspective is used by over 30 million.
You're going to hear more of this too, more
globally.
hacks and stuff
a lot of these
happening.
are schools and universities, particularly in the US, and it's caused huge disruption for students, some of which are in their finals, their end of year assignments.
So more of this is going to be starting to come out. And I said to people, after April 15th, between April 15th and by March 15th, we're fully in this bullshit. Right? We're in it. This is this is where right now it's kind of like the tipping. We're at the edge. We're standing on the cliff where things are going to start to, are you going to jump? Are you going to take that leap and start doing what you really want to do in your life? Right? Are you going to start getting the things that you want organized? And the thing that's and some of it's like, it's harsh, it's overwhelming, it's stressful, because a lot of times you don't want to. You want somebody to come in, scoop you up, and save you. But there is nobody coming in and scooping you up and save you. Trust me. I would love someone to come in and scoop up and save me right now. I would love someone to come in and say, here, everything is working out here for you, Mary. You don't have to do this anymore. You can go and just lay on the beach all day. It's not happening. The thing is that if this is an energy right now that is telling you that you have to be innovative. You have to get out there and you have to put it out there. If you're not, it's not going to happen. If you're overwhelmed in some areas of your life, because there's a lot of people right now that I know, and quite a few clients that are dealing with their elderly parents, right? And dealing with those situations, and for some reason maybe they thought they wouldn't have to do it, or that it would get bypassed from them, or what have you. So I have my nieces and nephews, they're probably dealing with their elderly, my brothers and sisters who are a lot older than me. Will my kids have to deal with me? Well, that'll be a funny one. It'll be a whole different ball game when they have to deal with their aging, with Steve and I aging. We are aging, but dealing with us at a point where they're like, "Ooh, do we put them in a home? What do we do with them? Mom and Dad have no money. What are we gonna?" I'm just gonna say, just put us out to pasture. We'll be fine. We'll get it. We'll be okay because we know how to fucking survive, even though we might be crawling. But we have a generation that doesn't know how to survive, doesn't know how to get things done, doesn't know how to really put things together, and they're depending on somebody else to come in. That's why you have the rise of a lot of the isms coming in, because they're looking at, this will save me. If you looked at maybe let me see if I can pull him up of where he just was. I think it's Paul. Surely? No. Let me see. Bear with me. I don't know if he did one. Oh, so many different guys. I should have everything like up on here and then just ready to go. Because now I know how to share. Now I know how to share with you guys. It's so much fun. Oh, here, let me go back onto Ian's stuff. And the crazy shit that's coming out. And if you're not, so this is the other thing too.
Tina's account, its banner, its really weird tripid banner, is pulled from a website called Time Machine. I feel confident that time travel exists because if any person...
So I'm going to tell you, I feel very confident. I believe in time travel as well. But this guy, he has brought up some different stuff. He's
if any being
in
any civilization of any species anywhere in the universe ever in all of time is capable of inventing time travel, then for all intents and purposes, time travel exists everywhere at all times in every place in the universe. Think about it.
Conspiracy theories are entering a
Information is the
fact. A Twitter account somehow surfaced. Still not really clear on how it was surfaced. That's a little weird in the first place. Not really sure how you surfaced this. I mean, I'm sure must have been someone searching for the name of the shooter, and they found this post from this account called Henry Martinez. Henry Ma 795618993. And Henry Martinez also published at NASA in 2014, the very same year that Cole Allen, the White House correspondent dinner shooter, interned there. Again, being very diligent and turning up a lot of shit. Obviously, we don't really have a way to prove that Frog on Twitter, Henry, is the same Henry Martinez as Diligent turned up having worked at NASA. I'm honestly not really even sure how the fuck Diligent found this LinkedIn profile.
So there's a lot of guys out there, and that's what you're going to find with this energy right now. They're coming out, and you got a lot of people that are busting theories, right? And they're coming to the forefront, and that's all about Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius brings up shit. You believe this? Really? Well, look at this over here. Look at the facts over here. And we're going to go into each of the facts, and we're going to look at finding out more of the information and finding out that information.
Or rather, book. He's probably using AI. He's probably scraping with AI, doing a good job. But anyways, just to clarify, we find out that the name of the shooter and the name of a weird Pepe Frog account that has only posted one time in its history and posted the name of the shooter. Those two names both were working at NASA in the same year. It's weird. It's like the odds of that happening don't exist. They don't exist. All the different names in the universe.
If you want to follow him more, you can.
War started again. The U.S.
Oswald. let me look into what he looked into. I'm gonna stop the share with him, but just now. Now, here's a young guy. I don't know if you've heard of him or seen him before too. I'm just bringing up some of the craziness that's happening in the world right now, and what's going on. Now, this guy, Asmongold, he's got like over 4 million people. He's a gamer. He pulls up shit. I I like him because he's kind of off the wall. He's, and he doesn't give a fuck.
Same here. I've been wanting to make a video for so long about life in communism and show people what communism is like in a place like Cuba, for instance.
Honestly, bro, like you really got to lock in. Like I wouldn't do that if I was him. It's just too dangerous. Like we need
posted or out in the world about their country is filtered or censored. So here in Cuba,
I'm gonna be real. Like if I ever went to one of these countries, I would not even say this while I was in the country. I would not even, because I would not know, like, do they have the room bugged or something like that? Like, I would be like,
as soon as I arrived into Cuba, I did everything that you need to do to come into Cuba as far as the documentation that it takes to come into Cuba. Right now, there's a big problem taking place here in Cuba. The largest humanitarian crisis they've had in maybe 50 years. And there's no oil or gas due to the blockade after Trump and the United States took over and captured Maduro. So Venezuela is no longer supporting Cuba with any oil or gas.
Oh, man.
And that also affects everything that they have.
Isn't it crazy?
Sorry. Now, this isn't being talked about in mainstream media. Like a lot of the stuff that's happening in Cuba. And the Cuban people are terrified to speak out because they know what the hell will happen to them. They know, right? They know that they will be thrown in jail or killed or disappeared in some way. And when Shirley, I can't remember his first name. I know his last name is Shirley. But when he went down there, he told them what he was going to do. Everything that he had was confiscated from him except his iPhone and then his one little microphone. So everything was confiscated from him in doing this. And I find that it's quite interesting
that they just kind of got Maduro and everything just got for Cuba. That's the reason why. Surprise.
In the hospitals. Right now, I'm in the only hotel in Havana that has 24/7 electricity, 24/7. Because this is the only one that has that access. That's one of the reasons why I booked this hotel was because their website was the only one that was operating 24/7. All the other ones weren't. So that's why I was able to get this hotel.
Doing international is a risk.
So think, not having electricity at all. So these places don't have electricity. They don't have means to cook or anything like that. I saw another video where just before everything happened, before Moderna was captured, and how he got this one taxi cab guy, he paid him to drive him around to different areas and stuff and tell him about things. And basically, but then they found that they were being followed, right? Yeah, they've been dark for months now, I think. Yeah, they have been. But it's actually gotten worse because it's hit the hospitals. If you don't have power, your hospital does not work. The people don't have any, or you can't really cook because then what are the fuels and stuff that you're using to cook with, right? And here's the thing. A lot of people think like, oh, well, let's just go back to the way it was. you can't go back to the way it was. You think you could go back to the way it was and say, I'll just cook on a wood stove and I'll just do that. Our society, the way things are done and the way things are created, it would be extremely difficult for as a society to go back to that way of being. And for a lot of these young people who believe that communism is the next best thing, that, oh, I won't have to ever do anything anymore. And this is where this energy is at this time. I won't play the whole video and stuff right now. This, if you're interested in it's, you saw it, you can go back, rewind it. This is where we're at. We're at a place where things like the, a lot of controversial information is coming to the forefront. Right now, we are talking about gas shortages. Do you really? I mean, okay, the Strait of Hormuz is blocked. Nobody's getting the fuck through there, which is, we know that. But do you think the United States does not have oil? During world wars, the government does not tell you what they have stockpiled. They keep on telling you, we have no ammunition. Bullshit. You have no more ammunition, but there goes another bomb. There goes another drone. There is ammunition. There is oil. There is gas. But the thing is that, and especially diesel, and the lack of diesel and the lack of air fuel. And that's the thing, is that even, who is it? Air Canada just came out and said that if you book a flight, that we can't guarantee you that, say you book a flight for Christmas or you book a flight in advance, we can't guarantee you that flight is going to be there. Shortages, right? So the fuel's not going to people to be able to take their luxury vacations or go to, and that's the other thing, is that if you fly somewhere, you got to make sure that you have an alternate way out of there, because there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get back home. And that's the thing. Maybe they can get you there, but with the crisis, and it's only going to be increasing, there's no guarantee in getting back. That's the other thing too. And I did a reading for a woman who was going down through South America, and I said to her, I said, number one thing, find an alternate way out of the country. And she goes, why? And I said, I don't know if there's going to be always flights out of the country. And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, some flights won't be able to get out of the country. There won't be any fuel. There won't be anything. So you're going to have to make sure you have alternate ways. Oh, well, we'll be fine. You know where she's stuck right now? Trying to find an alternate way out. So whether that's through a train, through some kind of person driving you out, whatever it is, right? You got to find an alternate way out. And if you think it's always going to be a certain way, it's not. That's where the energy is. That's what's changing. There is so much changing in our, in our society, in the way that we do things at this time. And the other part too is that we have to connect. We have to connect with other people. And the collapse of the false structure and the psychological effects of the collective fear and the isolation and the disconnection is here. That's where it is. And this is where a lot of times it's like very, getting lost in a lot of things. And God, I'm going to my notes here right now so I don't get lost. And the one part here right now, we have, what is it? Decoupling from men or something like that. And women don't want to have men, and a whole thing on men. And then men are afraid, try to get connected with women, and they find it's very difficult to get connected with women because they're too manly. They're not wanting to come into their own femininity, and it's very self-centered, and they don't want to have children. And then men don't want to have kids because they feel they can't fully it's crazy. But then that's the energy with Pluto in Aquarius. We're in this great big crazy energy where it, the biggest growth was from 1930 to 2008. right? So when Pluto was discovered and everything, so the whole thing was a, you know, where everything started to escalate and everything else, started to go. And we also got to look at from where Pluto was until it got into Cancer, which would be what, late 1800s and stuff, from 1776 to there is what, 167 years, takes 284 years to go around. So we started to see where a lot from 1776, the decrease in population, definitely, and that has to do with poor dysentery. It had to do with poor food storage, and a lot of people died. So we are in a time where more people are going to exit the world, and it's not from Bill Gates per se, but it's from other things that are happening. We have a whole population right now where women don't want to have children, or women have taken the shot and they can't have the children because the shot has caused them their uterus to be weak and they're unable to carry a child. Low sperm count because a lot of men took the shot. And so when you look at wanting to have children, it's a lot more difficult to have children. So you have less children being born. That's part of the depopulation that's happening. We also have, with those that have had it, other injuries are coming out, right? So we are in a time of great flux and change and death coming in. That's the best way I can think of it. And I thought it was funny, haha, because this is the other thing, because this is going in with the, I think, 1347 astrology. I'd have to double check that. I don't have that in front of me. But that is, with the Black Death and everything that came in that was caused by the tick, right? And the tick was on the back of the fleas. And all of that was carried by the guy, Dr. Schnauzer, going from house to house. And everybody was kept dark and don't go outside, and the the plague came along. And with this virus and everything that's happening right now, virus, I'm going to put it in quotation marks, is that they're one. And the thing is that I thought it was funny that they chose the Spanish Canary Islands to dock at, because Spain is the only country that is not allowing the United States to refuel, to have their planes land. Spain. And when you look at an old chart from the 1300s and you see the progression of where the Black Plague started, and Spain is one of the areas. Spain, Portugal, Italy, going up to around Paris and the UK, Ireland, where great death has happened. And I'm just going to say there's going to be some crazy shit that's going to happen over the next couple of years. And we're going to start seeing it. And this is, this isn't to scare you. I just want people just to wake the fuck up and start seeing the writing on the walls. But a lot of times people don't want to see the writing on the walls, right? They don't want to see, the information that's coming in. Again, they want to be saved by something or someone or some place to come in and this hand to scoop them up, that all is going to be fine. And that's why they want the isms. But when I showed you that video just recently, yeah, you think it's a good deal? Because you speak out, you say something, you're gone in the middle of the night. You disappear. We don't know where you went, but we know you ain't coming back. And we're getting we're getting very close to it. I think it's already here. And this is all part of the huge wake up that's coming in. And this is where it's like with that Pluto, the humanitarian feels so disconnected right now. Something definitely is changing in humanity, and we all can feel it. And Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and we are watching the collapse of the old systems, the old identities, old ways of relating, and even old ideas about what it means to be human. Definitely, people are exhausted, disconnected, overstimulated, and questioning everything. Relationships are changing. How are they changing? What's going to be happening with different types of connections? Careers are changing. Communicate. How we communities are changing. Even the way we communicate is changing. And underneath all of this huge question, how do we remain human in a world becoming a digital, more isolated, and more disconnected, and feel intimacy and to be authentic? And this is where you get into the Pluto and Aquarius, you get into the retrograde, and it isn't about fear. I mean, it's the psychological aftermath of the pandemic years, the fears and the autonomy and survival of the consciousness. And because the old world is dissolving and the new world is forming, many people can feel the change and what that change is, and what that means to each and every one. I'm just typing this. So right now we are going to look at, with Pluto retrograde for the next 6 months, humanity is going to be being forced to look at what has become unsustainable psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and socially. We are going to be going through such a deep dive and change within our world that we've never done before. And it's going to be starting to come up to the surface. And the thing is about Aquarius is that they will disconnect if it doesn't feel like that's not in their agenda, even though it's probably the best thing that they are to do or to come to, but they will disconnect from it and not do it. And this is where, when we look at Uranus in Gemini, a reinvention of communication, our AI technology and isolation, and the future of humanity, this is where we feel like, yeah, this is isolating us, but then there's this other part that's saying, no, we are coming into a reconnection with everybody. We are starting to reconnect with different communities, different people, and stepping away, where Pluto and Aquarius is that emotional detachment and avoidance and the hyper autonomy, disassociation, and escapism. There's a fear of vulnerability because we've had how many years of wanting to be isolated, don't want to associate, don't want to be a part of. And here we are. One of the biggest themes of this era is freedom. And freedom without connection eventually becomes isolation. But the Pluto and Aquarius is exposing where humanity has confused hyper independence with actual freedom. Because the freedom comes with when you are connected with other people. It doesn't come connected when you're all by yourself and isolated. That can become insanity. We saw that we saw what happened to Tom Hanks on the island, right? With Wilson, right? So this is where we're in a time of dramatic change. And the next 6 months is going to be some of the biggest changes that we're going to see. And the different types of connections that are going to be coming in. So this could be that you connect with someone who you can make a deal with you need gas in your tank. Or you need something, you want to get bananas for banana bread and somebody who has extra bananas. Those are just some of the things. I'm just throwing that out because those are the types of connections that are going to be coming in. And we're going to be making some new types of connections of how are we going to pivot in this new world? How are we going to recreate into this new world? because we're not, as I said, going back. We're seeing how things are becoming such a crisis right now in many different parts of the world. And as Canadians, a lot of Canadians are like, well, everything's fine. We're okay. But it's like, we're going to feel it in different ways, where, especially with Chiron going into Aries, and when Chiron was in Aries was when we had a fuel shortage, and people went to the gas station on what was your license plate. So was your license plate ending in an even number or an odd number, right? And that's the days you could go to fill up with your car. In the UK was a short work week, where you would used to work like 5 days a week, went down to 3 to 4 days a week, mandatory, because nobody could use any cars or buses, and that they'd be basically shut down. That's what, with Chiron coming into Aries, that's kind of like the scenarios that we're going to be looking at and we're going to be witnessing. So things are going to get tighter. So then you are going to be connecting more maybe with your neighbor, or more with a community that you didn't connect with before, because there's going to be having to have some outreach. You can't stay by yourself. And people will be like, oh, well, I'm going to go ride my bike, or electric bikes, if they have enough electricity to utilize their bike. So new forms and new ways of doing things are coming forward. It's getting people to step into them, and that's going to be the challenge, because not, people don't want to connect. You go to a, I guess a nightclub or something, everybody's on their phone and they're texting the person across the way. They're not really texting or going over there and talking, because everybody's all afraid that they're going to be seen on social media, and they're going to be humiliated. But I feel like that's going to be the best thing for people. They got to get humiliated, because they got to come back into being the humanness, into the reality. And coming into the reality means that, yeah, I'm going to fumble. I might not say the right thing. I might, look silly doing something, but I'm stepping into who I truly am. And that's part of the transits as well. Because when you step into that, then you step into a part of you that is very spiritual, that's very alive. And when we're able to step into that, and we're able to connect with that truth, we begin to change. Things start to change in new ways. And with all of this, and with the changes that are coming forth, can feel very emotionally heavy, can feel very overwhelming. But this is where it's like, I got to name it. I got to name that anxiety. I got to name what's going on. Maybe I need to look at the list that I have. Maybe my list is too long and I only have to do the first thing on the list, and that's it. This is rearranging yourself and rearranging your schedule. It's like not having, if you're tired and overwhelmed, why are you sitting there in front of a screen for 4 to 5 hours when that's draining you? Instead of putting a timer on and saying, okay, I'm only doing this for 2 hours and then I'm out. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go reconnect in different ways. That's really how a lot of the collective shifts are happening. This is where we are starting to unpack, a lot of the astrology, the psychological effects that are going on in this world at this time. And it is where many times it's frustrating. And I'll say that, because the false structure and the psychological effects of the collective fear and the isolation and disconnection, that's real through the line. That's here. But for YouTubers especially, or YouTube especially, you're going to see a lot of things starting to change when you look at things on YouTube and the feeds that come up for you. And that's going to be quite a shift when it comes to things with social media and how it looks for everybody. But I feel, with that Uranus and in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius, people are realizing, I don't just want a paycheck. I don't just want to survive. I want a life that actually feels mine. And that's the calling. People are feeling like, no, I just don't want to punch in and out of a job. I want something more in my life. And this is where your life has, if you look in the last 6 months, has completely changed. And this Pluto retrograde isn't asking you to stare at the wreckage anymore. It's asking you, now, what are you going to build from it? And the pressure cooker energy is breaking and the old structures dissolving. I mean, one of my things I'm going to say now is like, I think there's going to be a lot more of train travel and things to do with train travel. I think a lot more shorter trips people are going to be making. That's very much Gemini energy. Gemini is not long trips or going, on great voyages across the pond. They look at smaller trips. There's going to be where people are interactive. Yeah, we're all tired. Definitely, we're all tired. But this is where the restructuring comes in. Where is my energy being leaked? Where is, what am I doing to create a more spiritual structure in my life? Which is a big one. Because when we look at a lot the energies that are coming in, a lot it has to do with spirituality. It has to do with the structure that you are implementing. Are you trying to force and do everything yourself, or are you giving it up to the higher power? Are you shortening where it's like, okay, I can only do this for a couple hours, then I'm going to go outside, I'm going to breathe, and then I'm going to come back in and finish whatever I'm doing? Are you, these are the things that are needed to be done. Are we trying to do things where I can hand it over? I was talking to one mom and she's working full time and she's divorced. She's working full time. Her husband works from home. He has a lot more spare time. She got full custody of the children. So she sat down with her husband and said, "You know what? I'm having a hard time. This is what's going on." So she sat down and her ex worked out something where it's like, why don't the kids stay with me while you work? Because this is what you're doing right now. You're working outside. She's a nurse. So her hours are, 12 hours and things like that. Sometimes she's on the night shift and everything. And so it's like a reversal. They figured it out. And I know tiredness is there. I mean, we're all in this little pressure cooker of energy, and the pressure cooker energy is breaking because we're in a time where the other world is dissolving. And for the first time in months, we actually have space to breathe but that's the scary part. Is like, because people now have to take that responsibility of creating something, of doing something, connecting with others that they didn't have, I don't want to connect with others, right? Very Aquarius, look at me. I don't want to connect with them. They're not on my timeline. But this next chapter is not about chasing status. It's about creating a life that actually feels fulfilling. And that could be where some people is like, you know what, maybe I am going to go for a shorter work week because I don't really need, this vehicle. And I'm not saying that everybody has to sell their car or whatever, but this is looking at actuality of what is working and what is not working in their life. On average, people have 2 to 3 vehicles. And they're paying for 2 to 3 vehicles, and then they feel stressed, and then they want to take these vacations all over the place and go here and go there, yet their budget doesn't allow that. Right? And this is where it's, things there's actually, I know it'd be nice for more Marxists, but what I'm finding is that when you sit down and actually have real conversations with people, they're willing to work. they're willing to work, and especially when children are involved. We just see the horrible things with other people, and that's what's highlighted. One of the reasons why I'm doing my scrapbook circle, right? My scrapbook circle is all about, what is happening in your regular life. Let's highlight that. Let's highlight the regular everyday world and come into that, even when it's messy. So this, and because this is going to be a document for you for 2 years from now and saying, holy shit, look where I was and look where I am now. Because you're not going to stay where you are now. This energy is not going to hold you here. It's going to catapult you to another place. It's going to catapult you into a different, in new frequencies. And that's where a lot of people, it's like, because we can't see it all or we don't understand it all. That's why I base a lot of my stuff. My life is based on astrology. How I structure my life is based on astrology. How the planets are moving. That's how I base my life. I got to take a little bit of time today. I'm not going to be pushing too hard. Oh, this is a get going. Yes, I can feel, because your body will be able to feel the energy. Oh, I feel it. I can get going. Right. And it's unfortunate that yours is not willing to work with you, because at the end of the day, as the kids get older, they see shit. They know shit. Right. But that's an unfortunate scenario. And I know some work, some don't, but this is where you've got the sun right now is sextiling Jupiter, Venus is out of bounds, Uranus in Gemini, the moon is in Aquarius, so you're going to feel a lot more of the disassociation in that energy. But the astrology is screaming, try something different. New people, new ideas, new approaches, new ways of living, new ways of making money, new ways of being you. This could be getting a haircut, putting on lipstick. I didn't put lipstick on today. This could be, what other things can I do to make money? Curiosity is the portal now. But don't chase shiny distractions. Taurus is like, does this actually hold value? Does this nourish my life long term? Does this create stability and freedom? Because the biggest realization happening right now is this: the only real structure is the structure within yourself. And honesty, that might be the most liberating thing of all. And the energy is definitely shifting, and it's not something that shifts quietly. We're not in quiet energy. We're in very loud energy. We are in
What? I ain't got nothing.
There you go.
You finished?
No, I'm just typing something up. What do you want?
Oh, nothing. When I'm ready to go, I'll let you know. I ain't going till probably after lunch.
Well, that's kind of late. But anyways, I'm going to be going after I finish this.
Well, no, I ain't going.
Because that's too late to do things. Steve's here, everybody. He's talking to me as I'm live. So, hi, Steve.
Hi.
Look at my hair. My hair went all flat today. It's bugging me. That's why I keep playing with it. You see the gray? Look at the grays coming in, the silver. Yeah, whatever. So, change. Welcome. I'm past menopause. But that Pluto and Aquarius, the fear cycle, the psychological, one of the biggest conversations I feel is fear of a virus, fear of collapse, fear of the government, fear of AI, fear of the future, fear of losing freedom, fear of losing stability. fear of losing connection, right? And what's fascinating is to watch Pluto and Aquarius is not just the events themselves, but humanity's psychological reaction to them. In such a time where we live in, that we are so supported, right? Do things differently and go and do what Steve wants to do. Right, Candace? But I probably will too. So this is where I feel people have to really realize the changes that are coming in. And we have lived in a world where there has been a safety net. And the safety net is collapsing. And we have had, if we go back to, for some of you, this would be my grandparents, but for some of you, it would be your great grandparents, where they have lived where there was no safety net, where there wasn't anything to catch them. They had to go by, okay, we better make this or we ain't going to eat. We got to plant these potatoes or we're not going to have any potatoes, right? So learning to have that self-reliance. So this could be, it's like, I have no idea how to plant a garden. Maybe you got to go to a garden group and learn how to plant things or talk to your neighbor. Maybe there's a great Italian in your neighborhood. Italians always know. Sorry. Italians always have fabulous gardens. Go talk to your local Italian. Go to, say, hey, how did you get your garden to grow so well? Right? Having those connections, that's coming out. Right? And communicating with them. My family moved because of a curse. Weird to others, normally as fuck for us. But this is where I feel connection and reevaluating your world is very important. And what that connection looks like. And I'm going to say right now 95% of all my readings are people who are coming to me, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're filled with anxiousness. And then I say to them, I said, well, why don't you join my container for the summer? It's not stressful, it's not overwhelming. It's taking pictures and then putting them on a piece of paper. Right? I have it all everything done up for you. You could change it. It's going to be where you can upload it into your own Canva. Canva's free. You don't have to have the premium for Canva. And you can choose different stickers if you want. You can choose different things if you want. I find when doing things like that really helps you with a meditation, helps you get yourself into a system that allows you to sort of like breathe and coming into that breathing part. My mentorships, there's different things that you could be doing, but a lot of times it's like, oh, well, I just want, I just want to talk about it. I don't want to do anything about it. But this is the energy of saying we got to do something about, because this is where we are diving into the role of social media amplifying panic, division, and paranoia. Isolation changed, human psychology. And this is where we're looking at the deeper astrology behind the Pluto retrograde, right? So we're coming into innovation and detachment, freedom and isolation, awakening and paranoia. It's like all of this is coming up, and we're trying to process it through our nervous system. So yeah, we need to have a reconnection. We need to have the downtimes. We need to take the timeouts and have the tea times. We need to come into our body. We need to breathe. We need to ground. Because humanity is moving through a massive psychological and spiritual transition. Right now, what's happening over in the Middle East is not, it's a religious war. That's what it is. And, it's like, okay, how it's going to turn out, it's going to turn out right now. I have my theories. But we're in these crazy times and crazy times of transformation and change. And maybe Gerald has all the answers. He's the dolphin. Gerald the dolphin. I love Gerald the dolphin. He probably has the answers to everything. Let's go find Gerald. Gerald. Put an SOS out for Gerald the dolphin. But the transformation changes that are happening, yeah, they're inevitable. I am putting together my next half of predictions of what I feel is astrologically going to be unfolding for us over the next 6 months. And what that's going to look like for all of us. I feel it's really I feel like I just get it's very powerful. I see beauty. I do. I see beauty with this, but I also see the horrors of what can happen as well through it all. But it's a time of replanting, rejuvenation, spirituality, right? Coming into the spirituality, coming into this groundedness and connection with the higher self and the higher beings. I feel like that's an important part of this transformation. I changed my cup. So, this weekend, what's happening this weekend? Yeah. And we're going to find where people have the weirdest, craziest ideas or innovations. They're the ones that's going to come to the forefront with a lot of things. They're the ones where money's going to be invested in. And new, especially when it comes to new ideas. And with Uranus and Gemini, the thing is, if you think you thought of it, you haven't thought of it because it's Uranus. Uranus is that. It's, putting a new spoke in the wheel. Woohoo. Oh, I got 2 jumpers. I don't know who they're for. But anyways, I got the King of Swords and the Knight of Cups. What a combo. What a combo, right? So here you got the King of Swords, and he's forthright, and he's like, we're going to get things done. This is the agenda. I know things. He's the king of I don't give a fuck. I know, right? And then you have the Knight of Cups coming in, and he wants to bring in love. He wants to bring in, a new way of looking at things and bringing in that emotion. But a lot of times when there's a lot of air and everything going on, they don't want to feel anything, right? They just, this is what I know. It's in my head. I know this, and it can be really stuck on ego. And get stuck on ego. I mean, he's very, look at him. He's like, look at me, I mean, he's got his chainmail on, his beard, he's got his sword is crossed over, right? So he's ready. So where his sword is like this, like his sword is there. So I mean, for him to go and take that step forward or take that, I'm ready to go. Right? I'm ready to go. But then you get the little hippy dippy lover here comes in with his horse and his cup and the waterfall and feeling all the love. And it's like, whoa, with this is where I think a lot of people are torn, is through, the King of Swords coming forth, and then the Knight of Cups coming in. It's just, it is that battle, right? The combination, it's very powerful. I mean, the King goes through and he goes, I want to get through this distortion. You got to think clearly. You got to get Do not get emotional damage, emotionally manipulated by fear or hysteria or the collective noise. And it's a very Pluto and Aquarius card. It's the observer, the analyst, the truth seeker, the one trying to separate facts from the narrative. But the Knight of Cups comes in right after and changes the tone. It's like, yes, think critically, but do not lose your heart in all of this. Do not lose who you are. Do not become cold. Do not disconnect so much that you stop feeling. This is where it's like, do not let the digital world replace authentic human connection. And that's the biggest part. So people don't realize is that you still need the human connection, even in a digital world. And having that. And that's what people forget. There's something like, even I don't know if any of you argued with any of your AI, but it's like, no, it's like, that's what was it? Oh, that conspiracy theory. That's you can't go by that. It's a conspiracy. I'm like, I'm a human. We have to have conspiracy theories because that was invented by the CIA and the FBI to to discredit people from when they're coming in with facts. So you may not see all the facts right now, but I do, kind of thing. So I know Gerald is out there. I don't care. The Knight of Cups is reminding the humanity that survives through connection, creativity, empathy, intuition, spirituality, art, vulnerability, and emotional presence. Honestly, together these cards almost summarize, I think, everything that I've been saying. It's using discernment without losing compassion. Because you can lose yourself in all of the craziness that is out there, and that's happening. The King of Swords can get hyper analytical, suspicious, emotionally shut down, where the Knight of Cups alone can become very naive, very, emotionally overwhelmed, escapism, and overly idealistic. But together, you can come in with a clear mind and open heart. And putting those two together, I think that is very, very important. Because if you're not putting them together, if you're not putting, the discernment in with the heart, I think we can get extremely disheartened, and we can become this is the only fucking way to do it. And there is changes that are coming in, and with these changes that are coming in, a lot is going to be very bumpy with it. And the bumpiness can be a wee bit overwhelming for many people. And I get that. Breath work, groundedness. I feel like it's coming back to the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, coming back to the basics. And that's where a lot was, everything is escalating and going crazy. We got to come back to the basics. And Pluto retrograde, this is really going to be showing us this. And usually Pluto, the first week it goes retrograde, things are just chaotic. And then it kind of like can get into a groove of things as they're coming up. And then it's the last week before it goes forward again, and it's going forward October 15th. That's when things start getting really bumpy again with everything. So I feel there is transformation and changes. I'm throwing it out to you. You guys have any questions? Hit me. Oh, they're so quiet out there today. Such quietness out there. Such quietness. Let's see what else is out there. So I know May 11th is going to be a big, crazy day coming up We got a lot coming in when it has to do with wartime economy and that coming forward. I know what I'm to do, but need a bit more time to get going. Are you no? Oh God, no. Okay. Back to Sherry. Yes, I understand you need a bit more time, but the thing is that you're going to end up being rushed, and you have a Pisces moon. So it's hard for you emotionally to get through that. That's going to be an emotional one. But your Gemini mind is like racing and wanting to get through there. So definitely with this is definitely for you to find that groundedness. How are you grounding? How are you, are you actually sitting on a meditation pillow and allowing yourself to meditate and connect with your higher self? That's going to be important in going forward. I did at the beginning of this, I did a whole thing on that, and it's like, no, but it is one of those things that the virus is actually caused by the shot. That's what it's caused by. So people who've had the shot, that's one of the side effects. There's been a lot of information that has come up. People have posted all the information coming up about the Pfizer shot and the different shots that people have had. And that's one of the symptoms of it, right? So, so a lot of people who have gotten it, yeah. And the other part too of it actually docking on a Spanish island. And Spain has a thing with the United States not allowing the United States to dock any of their planes or anything. So it's going to be, that part I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on another one, and because I want to get my dates. I have them and I don't have them in front of me, but I want to get more in on the dates of the Black Plague. That's part of my predictions of what over the next 6 months of what's going to be happening, and the changes in the health and stuff for people that is going to be unfolding. So I feel like that's going to be a big part of it. The other thing is what's going on with the United States and the big 250-year anniversary of the founding of the United States, along with I still feel something, because looking at Trump's chart, something crazy is going to happen in August. I don't know if it's directly to him or his family. So something there's going to be a whole transformation that's there. So, and so there's something there. Is Trump's right now with Trump, he's got the lowest like he's just hated right now. Even people who voted for him, hated him. But the thing is that he's the one who had to play the part in this theater that is happening right now. But there's also, when you go back to time travel, and if you go back to the history of Trump and time travel, so there's a whole theory on Trump and the time travel thing. Just let me see if I can find it. And but because there was a book written about Baron back in the 1800s, and just the numbers and stuff with that is quite interesting. And the theories around Trump's uncle was the one from Tesla, and he got all the he was one of the guys in charge with taking all of Tesla's stuff when he died. So there's that. So it's quite interesting with the different information that is out there. Let's see. Let's see if it's on him. trying to find it, and I just want to share the video with you. I don't know if it was this one, but I mean, Reality Revolt on YouTube, and I think he's on TikTok as well, has a lot of different theories that he's put together about things. Let's see if I can bring him up again. Like if it was on this one.
There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
Ça, c'est le sourire nerveux de la révélation. Il y aura des feux tirés dans la salle.
There will be some shots fired tonight.
Il pouvait pas être plus direct. Et elle dit bien la salle. Ballroom, qui est égal à 34 et 47 en gématria. Le nom du suspect, Cole Allen, même résultat. Et les vidéos de surveillance sont floues comme d'habitude. Encore une fausse fusillade, comme l'oreille de Trump qui n'a jamais été touchée, ou l'impact sur Charlie Kirk qui sortait son t-shirt. Et oui, comme le dit Trump, le spectacle doit continuer. Évidemment, on regarde une pièce de théâtre. Oz Perlman, l'illusionniste, fait un tour de magie juste à côté de Trump. Trump qui s'était posté lui-même en magicien le 12 avril. Parce que tout ça, c'est de la magie noire. Et les acteurs ne s'arrêtent jamais. Erika Kirk dans son rôle de pleureuse, comme d'habitude, qu'on a déjà vu se gratter les yeux en coulisses pour forcer les larmes. Et il y a 2 jours, CNN publie un article. Comment mettre en scène une tentative d'assassinat.
So he comes up with some really good theories. He did another one. I'm not sure. I watched so many of these different guys, but there is another one that about Baron. And no, it's Spanish. He's Spanish. It goes through, and that's what's great about him, because he's not associated with the United States or anything like that. So, but it goes through the different theories. Now, one of my things is, and I was thinking, my crazy mind, is because I feel like timelines have switched over in that what happened, and there's many different dimensions of us in different lifelines and stuff. What happens if Trump jumped a timeline and it's the wrong Trump in this timeline? I mean, a lot of things right now, when you look at things, it's hard to think, like, do I believe this? Is this real? Is this true? And that's, that's a, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's something that, when you look at a lot of different, of things that have happened, especially with Trump and going back to Barron and the book that was written, or the book about Barron that was written in the 1800s. And he talked about the last president of the United States being Trump. It's just, you're just like, whoa, okay. And I do feel like there is, because 250 is also when you look at a country, that's when they start to fall. It's usually around 250. Doesn't mean they go away. It just means that a lot of their systems and everything that they've done over the last, 250 starts to fall, and you start seeing the decline. And that's anything that has been built up by man. Any, the Roman age, you had the Portuguese, you had the Spanish, you had the Italians, you had England, the UK, the fall of the UK. And the whole Commonwealth, now we're seeing, I mean, if you look at the United States, it's gone around and made its claim around the world, right? I mean, it's like they've colonized, if you want to use that word, different parts of the world and infiltrated. I mean, if you go to Japan, people want to be American. I mean, when Coca-Cola got there and McDonald's, everybody's like, yeah, we want to be American. Same in China. And right down to bringing in Starbucks, right? When Starbucks was going to go into, where was it? Vienna. Huge controversy. They didn't want Starbucks there because they didn't want to be Americanized. But people wanted it, right? And Vienna is known for its little coffee houses and everything else. So the United States has gone out and they have colonized many different, whether it comes into the music, whether it comes into movies, when it comes into, the things that we eat, have all been from the United States, from America. It's like when people come to America and then they finally see certain, like they go to where is it? Elvis Presley's place. And they look at it, it's not as great as what you think it is, right? Yeah, it's a beautiful mansion and everything else, but not far from it is like it's a junkyard, right? Because United States makes things bigger and it just brings in that illusion. This is the way your lifestyle should be. Now, what's happening right now, and especially with Pluto also brings up things to do with secret societies. So it brings up the Masons and everything else. United States was built by Masons, right? George Washington, there's a picture of George Washington in his Mason outfit, laying the stones to the White House and laying the stones to Washington, D.C. Most of the majority, there's many people who wrote on the Declaration of Independence, but the only ones that went for it were the Masons. And now anything that you're going to find that is trying to disassociate something, like to get the Masons out or to get Israel out, you're going to find that they're going to fail. Because that's where the astrology is. So if it's going to try and go in an opposite direction. So there you go. I think I've gone down to one person. I know I've been on here for over an hour and 15 minutes, and I really have to go to the bathroom. I think it's the coffee and the water I've been drinking. Pretty crazy. But I will pull one more card. So I'm not sure who's here. Who's left here to watch me? Oh. The Empress comes out. Of course. There's abundance there. There is beauty there. There is so much for us to grab hold of and to look at in our world. So when the Empress comes in, right? When the Empress comes in, there's such beauty. And I got to do my nails. I just looked at them. How horrible. Crazy. But the Empress comes in and she's there. I mean, there is bounty in this world. Whew. It's just, we're going to have to work at it. It's not going to be given to you. The bounty is not going to be given. The bounty is going to be where you have to work and you have to create and you have to connect. And if you're not doing that and you're isolating and you're not allowing yourself to reach out, sorry, it's just not where the energies are. So like and subscribe, share this out, let other people know about the Guru Mama, Mary June Tracy. And definitely, if you're interested in any of the beautiful things that I do, which I believe they are, and I'm an expert in many of them, definitely get a hold of me at thegurumama@gmail.com. I love you all. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. Blessed be, everyone. I gotta go pee. Bye-bye.